Chifue.
Nice seeing you, Innocent.
Is your name correct?
Yes, Chifue. That's the right name.
Thank you so much. Good to see you as well.
Nice seeing you, and good evening, viewers.
Thank you. Honorable, coming from all the way in Itezi Days in Southern Province. Good evening to you and welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Zambia, and I'm happy on behalf of my beloved party, the UPN, to be part of this important conversation.
Thank you. We've got also Dr. Honorable Xavier Chishimba, President of the UPP. Good evening and welcome to the Big Hour Debate.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having us. Good evening, viewers.
Before we also have Mr. Jason Mwanza. Of course, you've been called on a very short notice, but you do realize that national matters are very important and we don't take your presence for granted this evening. Welcome to the program. Coming from the Tonse Alliance. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Innocent, and good evening to the viewers. I'm glad to be here on behalf of the Gen Z. Right. And, as National Vice Youth Chairperson for the Tonse Alliance, we're glad to put our voice as youths to this national debate.
Interesting. Allow me to also officially welcome all of you, the viewers watching the program via our GSTV channel 279 and Bo TV channel 27, as well as Top Decoder channel 102. The program is also live on our Facebook page. That's KBN Facebook page, as well as YouTube platform. You can send in all those critical and burning questions for possible attention as the program commences. Gentlemen, you've been invited by the people of Zambia. The country today has over 20 million population and tuned in to watch this program and listen to your various submissions around the emotive topic, but also interesting topic at the same time. So, as I always mention to my guest, the rules of the game or the rules of the conversation are very simple. You will be able to submit or speak within 2 minutes when given the chance. But also you are allowed to interject in an event where you don't really agree to what your colleague is about to advance. You are free to come in, but in a very respectful manner. I hope that is clear.
Yes.
Let's begin from Mr. Chifue, the Center for Peace Research and Advocacy. When you look at the subject at hand, the constitutional making process in Zambia, we've been at it as a nation for a long period of time. We are at peace again. The question I have for you is Bill 7 a bitter document or a better document for Zambia?
First of all, Innocent, allow me to start by saying that the danger that we have put ourselves as a country is that for a long time we have allowed the selected few individuals to be the voices for the masses. And that has been, this is a dangerous path. And for a long time we have carried these people as though this is the only voice of reason in society. Now that's a dangerous path because democracy requires that all voices are heard. As now coming back to the question, is it a bitter or better document? I wouldn't say it is a bitter document because I don't think that at this moment it is okay to call something bitter. For you to understand or to get to know the bitterness of something, you need to taste it. You cannot just looking at a fruit and say this is a bitter fruit unless you have experience eating it. That's when you can determine. So in terms of being better, in comparison of what? Those are some of the things that should come to mind. What are we comparing it to? For us to say, is it better? Or even when we are talking about it being bitter, what are we comparing it to? But it has been a process. I think that the process has been okay so far in terms of people submitting, because this is a requirement. Like you rightly said, we have been calling for constitutional amendments for a long time. Commissions have been convened, and in 2016 we had one. Okay, so again, if you remember in 2016, the president then, may he so rest in peace, he actually said, I'm signing this constitution with closed eyes. So that should tell you that there could have been things here already. So because him being a lawyer, he could have noticed certain things. So in terms of the process, I think I'm okay that there was a call to actually amend the constitution so that we perfect it. This is a living document that should continuously be changed. to fit the modern conditions. So I think that's what I can say. I cannot at the moment say this is a better document. Neither can I say this is better, because then we need to compare it to something. Then we can qualify it that way.
Interesting. But you've gone through the 13 proposed clauses.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes.
So for you, this is a better document.
I would say so, because I don't see anything yet that is contentious.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So that was Mr. Chifue coming from the Civil Society Organization. Now let's hear from Honorable Twambo Mtinta from the UPND. Honorable, you are a member of Parliament, and this bill will be coming for second reading in Parliament, which is next week, so to say. From where you stand as a member of Parliament, from where you stand as a youthful parliamentarian, how would you describe this bill? Is this a better document, or it is the opposite?
Well, thank you so much, Innocent, for that important question. Myself coming from the United Party for National Development, and myself being one of the youthful members of Parliament, I want to indicate to the Zambians that Zambians have had so many constitution making processes. Zambians had the popular bill 10, they had the Rupia Banda driven one, we had the Michael Sata driven one, we had the Johnny Mwanakatwe process, and we also had the Willy Mungomba process. We now have this popular Bill 7. Bill 7 has come at a time when the world is concertized. When these bills were in motion, perhaps the world was not that concertized to understand what was happening. Democracy had not gone. Now the European government has brought democracy, where everyone is taking stock of the steps that your government is making. We are now at the stage where this government proposed 13 clauses, and we are at a stage where, to the best of our mind, the Republican president, through a motion which was moved by a member of Parliament using his constitutional rights, this motion was moved, and considering the fact that this government has a mandate to govern this country for 5 years, and there's been calls from the civil society. I was part of the entourage with the president in Kasama, where NGOCC, in their speech, they called for a constitutional amendment process. And we've been seeing people from the time the European came into office wanting that we need to make amendments so that we cure some lacunas that exist in this process. Now, in my mind, and in the mind of the Zambians out there, they are satisfied with the process. Just like Mr. Chifue did mention, all the required processes have been taken. If there is anything which was not well done, there are laid down procedures through the courts or through Parliament, where everything could be concluded. Now we are at a point where the technical committee has brought its report, and we are now sitting at a point where the select committee is sitting. That is an established process of constitution making process. No shortcut has been done. Consultations with the public. I think of all the constitution making process that I've tabulated here, there is none that at the moment where there were over 11,846 submissions, and there is no constitution making process that had the civil society interacting with the president more than 10 times in the process. So for me, Innocent, we're in the right, we're on course, we're on track. Zambians outside there, they're excited. The provisions, these 13 provisions, some of them, Innocent, they are very unprecedented. First time in the history of Zambia, Zambians now, they want to have women to be nominated in Parliament. First time from 1964, the Gen Zs, the youths, they will be in Parliament. When in actual sense, it was going to take another 100 years for young people, for women, for persons with disability to sit in leadership positions. So this is a privilege. To the best of my mind, the due process has been taken. We are now at the point where you, Innocent, you elected 156 members of Parliament. The mandate is now with members of Parliament, constitutional mandate, which is under Article number 62, which gives Parliament powers That is the stage where we are.
Right.
We are no longer talking about what was not submitted. We are no longer talking about brilliant ideas. Those brilliant ideas will come later.
Right.
We are at a point where you have now given the mandate to us, the members of parliament, through a model of governance, which is called representative government, representative democracy. That is where we are now. It's in parliament.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Honorable, for that submission. Let's hear from Doc, Honorable Chishimba from UPP. What is your position? You've been around, like I mentioned. You are a politician. You are a former member of parliament for Kasama Central. Today, you are running a revolutionary political party called the UPP. What is your position regarding what is being discussed right now? Is the Bill 7 a better document or a bitter document for Zambia?
It's more than bitter. It's a bitter pill to swallow. You see, Innocent and fellow citizens, the fact that we are talking about Bill 7 is sufficient indication that our nation is in trouble and that we are in problems, very serious problems. A perpetuation of a colonial legacy is unacceptable in a country which is independent. First of all, what is a constitution? That's the starting point. A constitution is a basic charter of the land of any sovereign state. That's the constitution. And it's the mother of laws. It's the supreme law of the land. And I want to submit quite clearly that the constitution is not just a legal document. It's an embodiment of the aspirations of the people in a given territory, in a sovereign state. Here we are standing before the people of Zambia, talking about an amendment. Why is it called an amendment? I'll take you back. What Zambia has been amending is not a constitution. Zambia has no constitution. It's like we're insulting ourselves as a state. Prior to the granting of independence in 1964, the Crown, I'm talking about the British royal establishment, decided that they were going to grant Zambia independence. And to give effect that independence, the House of Commons enacted the Zambia Independence Act of 1964, Section 65 of the laws of England. That's the starting point. This is a foreign statute. It's a foreign law enacted in England, not by the Republic of Zambia, in England. That Zambia Independence Act had a provision which conferred the powers upon Her Majesty the Queen to issue orders in the council. An order in the council is equivalent to a statutory instrument. And here let me pause. When Parliament enacts a law, it provides for ministers or the President or office holders to issue what we call SIs, statutory instruments, which are inferior to the parent act. So in other words, you have the Constitution, then the Constitution, of course, is superior to an act of Parliament, then you have an SI. That's the procedure. So now, using the powers to issue an SI, an order in council, the Queen issued a Zambia Independence Order in council, which is superior to that foreign piece of legislation, which is the Zambia Independence Act. Then, that order in council, an SI, provided for a schedule called Schedule 2. Now, to discuss that Schedule 2, which is called the Constitution, which is not a Constitution, it's a schedule, Schedule 2. It's wrong to abuse the technology Constitution. So that schedule was crafted by the Crown, not by the people of Zambia, not by the government of Zambia, but by the government of Her Majesty the Queen. And what did they do? Then they called the few nationalists. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, Sene Mwansaka Pwepwe, less than 6 or less than 10 there about. And they called it a conference to go and discuss the constitution of Zambia. That is Schedule 2 I'm talking about. Now that Schedule 2, Section 10 of Schedule 2, provided for Kenneth Kaunda being the first president of Zambia. So what does this mean? It means to imply that that was not meant to be given, this perpetuity which I've given from 1964 until now.
On that score, John,
So,
I would want you to conclude. You've got a minute now.
Okay, thanks so much. So that stage too, after Zambia was granted independence, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda used a British law called the Inquiries Act to remove the referendum clause. That same shade was protected because the Crown expected Zambians to hold an assembly just like India, America, everywhere. After independence, these countries met to enact constitutions. That's what we're expecting. So, in 1968, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, knowing that we're going to the election year, decided to use the Inquiries Act to remove the referendum, to end all referenda. And it was only Western Province which voted no against beginning the creation of that piece of Schedule 2. They voted no because they understood they are more educated than independence.
Right.
We had more people from Western Province who had more degrees than any other part of the country. So they knew. Now, the rest of the country, as you know, because of the colonialism, people were not initiated enough to understand what a constitution meant. Right. 1972, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda used the Inquiries Act to appoint a chairman of inquiry into the making of the constitution. And the terms of reference were prepared by the executive. And they were told to go and inquire on how to run one party state, meaning the executive predetermined the outcome.
Right. Permit me to pause you there, because your time is up. I will still come back to you, worry not. Let's hear from Mr. Mwanza, coming from the Gen Z family as well as the Tonse Alliance. You are among the young people in this country whose this document is advocating to accommodate. What is your position? Are you in support of this document, or you are against? And if you are against, the reason will be, or the question will be why?
First of all, let me register my disappointment, comrade. I want to say that with what the Zitezi has mentioned, that the level at which the this bill is at means that whatever submissions we are making here are of no use. And this comes after the UPND actually contradicted the Constitutional Court's ruling, by going against what the Constitutional Court had termed as an illegal process. So no matter what we may say, it is of no use at this point, because they've already, defiled and raped our democracy. And it is very saddening that we are having people coming here to claim that the UPND has brought democracy. No wonder this bill has become so popular, and no wonder a lot of people are actually speaking to it. The truth of the matter is that the reason why a lot of people are speaking to it, and the reason why it is different from Bill 10, the Willy Mungomba bill, constitutional process, is because UPND has got deaf ears. They are not a listening government, and that is the major difference between their process today and the processes that we've seen in the in the recent past. The first comrade there was saying we have no basis to compare this bill to, when in the actual sense, when you look at Bill 10 and Bill 7, you will find that they all speak almost to the same thing. And in opposition, the UPND had declared Bill 10 as poisonous. That is why, us as Gen Z and as the Zambian people, we are also referring back to them that these are the same things that you rejected. The increment of, constituencies, the increment of the number of members of parliament not elected but rather appointed politically. Those are some of the things that were still found in Bill 10. So you rejected them, and you are bringing them via Bill 7, and you expect the Zambian people now to suddenly welcome Bill 7 as though it is a savior right now. It's not going to happen. Lastly, because I want to keep my debates short. Lastly, when you are standing from, a national resources point of view, you understand that at the point where we are at, some of the things that are currently happening in our country are very unnecessary in regards to what the UPND should have been working on today, to cushion the lives of the Zambian people. Some of the things that we are coming to come and debate, and the things that we are using the national resources on, are very unnecessary. When he talks of transparency, the UPND is one of the governments that is very untransparent. because even the committees that they are forming, they are not revealing where the money is coming from, who is paying them, how much they are getting paid, and where the... So don't talk about things that you don't understand. And I would advise my two comrades there, because I can see already that they formed a pact. I would advise that let's not politicize this thing. Let's debate with a sober mind, and even though it's very heartbreaking that we are making these submissions, Innocent, the bill has already gone to a point where now it's in the hands of the members of parliament. No matter what the Zambian person can say, it does not hold water, it does not matter. Why? Because it is the nature of the UPND government not to listen to the Zambian
What
people.
happens when you allege that the two here have formed the pact? I want us to just understand this.
Yes. So pay attention to the way they are coming out.
Yeah.
Okay, when he is talking of civil societies, he's pointing at that person, because, and to be honest, in my view, in my opinion,
to swap the podium?
No, it does not matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Listen, that person, Mr. Chifue, is one of the people that were there at State House making jokes. Okay, they were accommodated by the UPND government, and so these two know each other. They know. So no wonder I'm saying they have formed a pact, because he's saying, oh, they consulted with the civil societies. My brother, I am part of the civil societies. Gen Z is a registered member of the civil society organization, and our voice matters. If you are going to claim that you've brought democracy, then you need to include even the voices of the people. What happened to that meeting, the live broadcast that was being held between the president and the Oasis Forum? It was cut short. But the jokes that were taken by that those other members of the civil societies were lively broadcast on national TV. So I know what I'm talking about when I tell you that they formed the pact, because you can hear from the words that the crafting of the words that they are choosing. So it doesn't matter. Even if you take me there, you may reshuffle the seats on the Titanic, that boat will still sink.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe allow me to... First of all, I want to encourage my brother to cool down.
Yeah.
In a democratic dispensation, it's always good manners to speak when you are relaxed. You don't become emotional, because we are having a democratic intercourse. We are sharing ideas. We are brainstorming on how better we can make our country better. We are not hallucinating here. We are not making unfounded allegations that these two, they know each other, when we just spoke in the preamble for the first time. So that is not necessary. I just want to make quick comments from some of the issues the colleague from the Tonse Alliance that he has raised. First of all, he's saying Bill 10 was the best bill.
Right. No, I didn't say that.
He's saying Bill 10 was better. And we rejected Bill 10. So if Bill 10 was, the contents of Bill 10 were okay, and we rejected them, because he said what was in Bill 10 is the same thing which is here. And he elaborated some of the articles which were there. And he's saying we rejected the Bill 10, and the content is the same. Then we are on the right foot. If he's saying the content which was in Bill 10, the same one we are here, then they need to agree that the content is the same. So as we are just affirming the same content which was in Bill 10. Then I also want to mention that the colleague from Tonse, he has to appreciate the fact that what we are conversating here, we are just conscientizing the public. We are not making any submission to the select committee, because it's also very important to have some basic education on how parliament operates. It's very important, because at this point, on this fora that we are here, including the honorable member here, senior honorable member of parliament here, he understands how parliament works. What we are doing here, we are not making any submission to the constitution making process here. No, all the stages are passed. So when I'm saying the stages are passed, I'm not saying we have bulldozed the process and whatever we discuss here, and I want to assure you that the select committee, which is also an establishment of the standing orders, which is also an establishment of the constitution, through article number 62, which gives parliament the mandate to legislate. By the way, myself, I'm a member of parliament. I'm paid to make laws. And the constitution making process is one of the mandates that defines a member of parliament. So it has reached a point where now, what we are discussing here, my point is, we are conscientizing the public. The entire ball is in your member of parliament, sir. I don't know who your member of parliament is. So at this point, is to convince your member of parliament to go and say yes or no.
Let me just push in something. I think the concern from him was the transparency aspect of it. Yes, the Constitution has given you the powers to make laws or enact laws, but I think he's questioning about the procedure, how transparent the procedure is, and the roadmap. You can't tell me that your role is to make laws. It doesn't matter whether you do it.
I didn't say it doesn't matter.
No, it's missing that now.
Yeah, so don't misquote me also, Innocent.
I will not misquote.
Yes.
Why not?
It's very important to stick to the words.
Yes, so I'm saying they are questioning the procedure on how the Constitution is being crafted, the transparency of it. Maybe let me add now, these are my own words as a moderator. The many stakeholders, I think, have expressed concern that the UPND government, you have not followed the procedure. Hence, the Concord had more like guided on what should have been done in the first place. There were no collection of the views from the general public. You had to be guided by the Concord to go back on the field and collect the views.
Okay.
Why didn't you follow the procedure in the first place? Maybe that should have been the question.
So let me also give you some background to constitution making process. I'm not a lawyer, but from the little knowledge that I have, just like the lady, the honorable here, gave a background. Constitution making has no established formula. There's no prescribed formula. There are different methods that can change the law. There are different methods. There's a constituent assembly, or you can use this methodology of amendments. So there are different modalities. And I want to mention that, like I did mention, constitution making process, unfortunately, from time immemorial, it's a legal process. You are enshrining the document of the land. It's not a small issue like he mentioned. But unfortunately, it is always ascribed to political interest. And this is not starting for the first time. We applied our political interest in the Bill 10 when we were in the UPND, when we were in the opposition. And maybe we played our politics smart by telling the people what ills we saw there. But the fact that we are championing a similar document because we've seen lacunas, we should not be judged. So in terms of procedure, like I mentioned in the preamble, the UPND government, if there's an abrogation of any procedure, there are only two methods one can use. One, you go to the court. Two, Parliament is also an independent body. If the Tons Alliance feels that there was an abrogation of the procedure, there will be an opportunity to vote in Parliament. The court also, it would. So I don't think there's any abrogation which was made by the court. If the court said we were not supposed to go on with this process, it could have been halted. But as I speak now, there is no court matter that is stopping the constitution making process to go ahead. Unless, maybe, not to the best of my knowledge.
Right.
I need to be educated.
Thank you so much, Honorable. Let's hear from Mr. Chifue there.
Yeah, so
I see you are yearning to also jump in.
It's very interesting. Why I'm ending is the allegations leveled against me by the honorable. I've forgotten his name.
Mwanza.
Yeah, Brother Mansa. So it's very dangerous in the first place because he's saying he's aware I was sponsored by UPN. So the question is, if I was to take him to court, is he able to prove? Those are the dangers of saying things that are not substantiated. I'm a citizen of this country. I can go to State House anytime. And when I'm seen there, I should not be aligned to UPND. He can go to State House. No one bars him. Okay? So, and this is the danger of discourses that actually have no substance. It's because you end up being personal and attacking. And I like that the honorable member said, this is a national discourse. And therefore, we should be moderate and mature in the way we articulate issues. So, for example, he's talked about forming a pact. I'm one of the persons that I should agree with you when facts state so. I shouldn't think that I'm coerced. No. That's how facts are. if you have a problem with facts and then you think those that agree on facts are actually forming a pact, then there's a problem. So we must admit that there are so many things here that are going to be said. There are things he's going to say I agree with. Would that mean I have formed a pact with him, which are opposing to his views? No. So it is this that we need. And look, he's actually a double sword. He's in civil society and as well as a politician. I am not. I am pure in the civil society. So where I come from, I look at things from reality and unbiased way. I'll tell you, he's talked about illegality of the constitutional making process. I come from a consortium of organization on good governance. We are the first consortium of CSOs in this country. When we realized that the process was not going the right way, we wrote to the Minister of Justice, okay, trying to guide, because that's our role. We must be there to provide a balance, which politicians may not actually see, because they may be in the overdrive. So we wrote letters. When we saw that the letters were not responded to in time, we actually wrote direct to the president, and luckily, he responded. That's the first meeting you saw where there was a consortium now that has petitioned the process in court and our consortium. The president called all of us at State House. And there was amicable agreement on what route it should be done, because we called for deferment of the bill. It's on record. These are things I can share with him and you, because we wrote. So we want to be very practical and factual. We don't want to look at the constitutional making process from an abstract.
So what you're telling me, Mr. Chipo, is that the deferment of Bill 7 in the first place, it was deferred because the procedure was not rightly followed?
Now, if you remember, Innocent, let me maybe provide some context.
Yes, please.
When the president, I think it's somewhere 8th March, I think he should have been in Kasama, when he said we are going to amend the constitution, because this has been a core for Zambians. Every time Zambians are, let's change the constitution. I've just given you one example, that the former president, Dr. Edgar Chagwa,
Yes.
when he was signing the constitution, he said, I'm signing this constitution with closed eyes. And I told you that as a lawyer himself that he was, there could have been gray areas that he saw. So he realized that even if I am signing this, there are some lacunas that need to be changed later or early. So he did that. Now, when you talk about the process of amending a constitution, I think there are 3 pathways.
Yes.
Me as a citizen, the constitution does allow me, Article 88, I can petition the parliament to amend or repeal a certain thing I'm not happy with. Okay? 92I gives that mandate to the president. He can initiate amendment of a constitution. And I think it's Article 62, which allows members of parliament, or 64 somewhere there, to actually initiate a bill in parliament. So for me, this is why I was saying, I don't want at this moment to say this is bitter, this is better. I want to look at, did the processes that were undertaken meet the requirements of the law? If yes, what is the problem there?
So did the earlier, process, did it meet the criteria you're talking about?
I think so, because look, I told you about the minister.
So if you think so, the question is, why did you petition the president to defer the bill so that we could go back again?
Now, this is what I wanted to put.
Because you mentioned that the president has got the powers as well to initiate the process by the executive.
Yes.
Members of parliament, again, they are also empowered.
Yes.
Including you as a citizen, you are equally empowered.
Yes.
So if there are so many processes to initiate or to drive the constitution process, as the honorable member has mentioned, there are so many ways you can craft a constitution. So the question is, for you to petition the president, for you to write to the head of state, and eventually you met him and expressed your concern.
Yes.
Why did you do that if at all there are so many ways of arriving to the constitution?
Okay, so let me I think I had skipped it. So I said that when there was a call to amend the constitution, the Minister of Justice, if you recall, she went around the provinces doing those consultative meetings. And we said, no, that's not the process to follow. And that's what we are petitioning. Okay? end up being...
So, meaning whatever the minister was doing at that particular moment was not right?
No, it wasn't. And this is the position for our consortium. Yeah, no. And this is why, Innocent, when we wrote, the process was restarted. This issue of the technical committee, it is these two consortiums, the one that has petitioned the process and our consortium, that were at the State House. In that discussion, it was agreed. The president said, actually, you people, the CSOs, I want you to submit names of people to be the technical committee, which was done. And again, these are written documents, because when you're submitting names, you're not just saying, no, Clifton or Chifue. No, they were submitted formally to the head of state. And now, because a few individuals whose names were submitted were not on the final technical committee composition, then they say, no, this is an illegal process. And by the way, and I've heard the comrade also mentioning, and I would love, unfortunately I didn't come with the ruling of the Constitutional Court. Right. The Constitutional Court, Innocent, never pronounced itself on that. It never said this is illegal or this is not illegal. And this is why I'm saying it's very, I'm coming there.
Yes.
The Constitutional Court never said this is illegal. It only it stated that the process needs to be consultative in nature. That is not to declare that this process is illegal.
Okay. I wanted to conclude. I wanted to press in one question,
yes,
but
please.
Conclude. No, you can just conclude. So
yeah, so it's this is why I'm saying, let's read the judgment that was delivered by the Constitutional Court before we begin to twist terms and words here. I think it's very important.
Yes. Let's hear from Dr. Chishimba. I know that, Doc, you are among the people who did not support Bill 10 under the PF. You are on record.
Correct.
What is your position today? Do you support Bill 7?
Not at all.
And the question is why?
No, not at all. In fact, to even discuss the... First of all, the honourable member put it regarding the fact that this bill is already before Parliament. I think it has gone through the second reading, if I'm not mistaken. Not select committee level, okay. So it's already before Parliament.
Yeah.
Okay? And strictly speaking, what this discussion, this debate is doing, it's not adding like any value in terms of changing the course of that Bill 7.
Yeah.
But then, in a way, for the sake of those members of Parliament who will be voting, probably can pick something and decide to vote against it, or for it, depending on the submissions that we are making.
I think that's correct.
Now, what we are trying to avoid in the UPP is to go into finger pointing to say the UPND is wrong, the PF is wrong, the UPND is wrong. That's why we are trying to give this country a clear perspective in terms of where we are coming from.
Right.
That, look, the fact that we keep amending this document, it shows that the sacrosanct nature, the sanctity, which must be placed on the Constitution is not there. No wonder I was giving this background. That, look, in 1972, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda used the Inquiries Act of England to appoint the Chona Commission of Inquiry. And because this came from the executive, so the executive was in control. So the Chona Commission went to collect the views of the people of Zambia, and they submitted. Zambians said they want parliament, they want a presidential system, meaning parliament must be appointed outside, cabinet must be appointed outside parliament.
Yes.
Okay, where the president appoints people on merit to cabinet, and then those names are taken to parliament, then parliament will scrutinize them. I'm talking about ministers.
Yeah.
That parliament, on behalf of the people, they must scrutinize those people, those who are ratified, then they become ministers. The way it is in America. Yeah. That's the system that Zambians wanted, separating parliament from the executive, so that there can be transparency and accountability. Because the role of parliament is to enact laws and to also exercise oversight over all other branches of government, both judicial and executive, because at the end of the day, they receive funding from the state coffers, and members of parliament must exercise oversight on how these public sources are being utilized. So, now, because at that time for UNIP, they had interest, because they saw that Hari Mwangankumbla and Temwani Mwanseka Pwepwe of UPP and Hari Nkumbla of ANC, they were very strong. The UPND was, the UNIP was going to lose power. What did they do? Then they changed the constitution to make Zambia one party state, using the Chona Commission of Inquiries. In 1990, when Zambians wanted Zambia to go back to multi-party democracy and UNIP had no option, again Dr. Kenneth Kaunda use the Inquiries Act of England, the foreign law in an independent country, to appoint the Mvunga Commission of Inquiry. It went on and picked the views. Zambians said the same things they said in 1972. And they said it's about time that we had an assembly to craft our first constitution in its entirety. That's what they said. But of course, the terms of reference to Mvunga was simply going back to multi-party democracy. So they only amended a few clauses to go back to multi-party democracy, to remove UNIP as the only political party which was by then existing as by law. So we had elections. Then if you noticed, the MMD government under Dr. Chiluba didn't talk about this process until Dr. Kenneth Kaunda came back to politics, that was going to run for office. And they saw that clearly Zambians were tired with now the MMD selling of set assets. Things were not improving as much. Of course, in terms of infrastructure, changes were there. But then people are concerned, especially looking at the loss of jobs on the mines. Many mining areas, industrial areas like in Ndola, many other places became like ghost towns. So Zambians were not happy. So Kenneth Kaunda stood a chance to come back to power. What did the MMD government do? Rush in a hurry. Dr. Chiluba appointed the Monakatwe Commission of Inquiry. Again, when you look at the terms of reference that were given, the executive was in charge, controlling the entire process. And all they wanted was to bar one man, Kenneth Kaunda, that to be president, both parents must be Zambians. And then there they went, and in a hurry, they passed it. Then from there, the same MMD government under President Mwanawasa, when he became president, Mwanawasa is the only president who came closer to listening to the views of the people of Zambia. He said, after the Mungomba Commission of Inquiry collects the views, for the first time we're going to have a conference, we shall call it a constitutional conference, where we'll bring people from all walks of life, the chiefs, young people, women, NGOs, law bodies, name them, to meet in an assembly, in a conference, to craft for the first time Zambia's constitution, which will have nothing to do with the British in its entirety, not just some parts, because there's part 3, which has consistently meant the same from the colonial masters, something drafted in England. We are insulting ourselves as a sovereign state. Where is our sovereignty? This is the question. So they went tied in a hurry. So President Hakainde, someone was right when he said that we are not the first ones to try and attempt to bring in a law during elections. MMD did during the elections. It was 1996. We are going to elections. Why? Because it was meant to serve political interests of that particular moment, to back Kenneth Kaunda. One man, you go and amend what you are calling the constitution. So after the Mungomba Commission of Inquiry, unfortunately President Mwanawasa died. President Banda took over. He too committed himself to that process. There was a conference for the first time. There was a conference. So there was a conference for the first time. Then the PF rose to power. So they said, we are not going to hold another conference. What we do is that since that conference, whatever they had all the submissions, the deliberations, so they'll pick that, and then they're going to enact the constitution. Now again, because we are going to elections again. When Sada died, then you had President Lungu. You are going to 2016 for elections. So what happened was that, again they said, no, for part, we will not do with part 3. Again, it was political expedience. We just look at other things which you can amend, of which Parliament has the power. Remember 1968, when that referendum clause was removed, and the powers were given now to Parliament to begin administrating that same Schedule 2. So then, after 2016, towards 2021, again, Bill 10 came up. We opposed Bill 10. Some of us were locked up, were detained for speaking against such methods, according to methods of trying to enact the law. We said, please, for once, give Zambians the constitution. Then here we are. Personally, I'm very disappointed that the UPND government, which must learn lessons from the past, is losing an opportunity to put a break to this circus. There is no country on earth, if you can go, you can Google, there is no country on earth that amends constitutions every time that have a new government. That's not the constitution. What we have, as I've said, is an act of parliament, is a product of an SI, which is a product of an act of parliament from England. It's an ordinary schedule of an SI. That's what we've been amending until now. So what we are saying in the UPP is that time has come for the people of Zambia to exercise their sovereignty by calling for Constituent Assembly, which will bring Zambians from all sectors together Parliament has no right to pronounce itself on the constitution.
Right.
The executive has no right. Do you know the reason? Because the executive, parliament, judicature, they are creatures of the constitution.
Right.
So for once, Zambians must craft a constitution, and in fact, when you meet in an assembly, like what happened in America, you elect the president of that assembly. Whatever that assembly decides needs not to go back to parliament or the executive. It becomes the supreme law of the land. Zambia has not done that.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Doc, for that. I was to come back to you. Before I come to Honorable Twambo, I know you'd want to quickly speak. I can see you are yelling. But let me come back to Mr. Mwanza quickly. From what Doc has mentioned, I think what I picked from him is basically a point that all what is happening, all what has been happening in this country, amending the constitution, has been, a sheer waste of resources and time. All what we needed was to come up with a constitution which was going to stand the test of time. What is your position over that? Quickly, then I come back to...
I definitely agree with that, because it's like history repeating itself, and we've seen this before. And this is the reason why, as Gen Z, we are saying no to this, because we have seen these attempts before. Now, the reason why I wouldn't agree with the Honorable Member of Parliament here when he says because they are pushing the same agenda that was in Bill 10, then we should agree with them, is because that is a very hypocritical statement. You cannot say that whilst it was the Patriotic Front that was pushing for Bill 10, it was wrong for the Zambian people to support it. Now that you are in power, the Zambian people should suddenly support because it is you who is pushing for the same agenda. What hypocritical statement that is. So, no, that is not going to work. And I feel personally, strongly, that the UPND are better off doing other, more urgent, national matters at the moment, like sorting out the lives of the Zambian people as we are heading towards 2026, than attempting to amend our constitution. Now, here is the thing. This is the constitution that ushered them into power in 2021. Mm-hmm. And if they are confident that they have done enough to secure them a victory in 2026, then let the same constitution usher them into 2026. Mm-hmm. And this we can give them, we can assure them, we can give them our word that as we enter 2026, if UPND still remains in power and they bring up issues to amend the constitution, then as the Zambian people will listen at that point, because there will be no suspicions of anything that has to do with advantaging the ruling party. Like you have heard from the Honorable here, that majority of the times whenever a ruling party attempted to change or amend the constitution, it was to advantage them. And this is largely the word on the ground. This is exactly what the Zambian people feel. And when I say the Zambian people, I don't want you to, comrade there, I don't want you to mix my submissions with any political sentiments. This is how Gen Z is. It's not a double-edged sword. Gen Z is a civil society organization that sits on any political party, any alliance, and any organization that allows it. The reason why you don't see it to be part of the UPND is because the UPND have not welcomed us. So we treat ourselves as the conscious of what is right and good in terms of politics. If something is wrong in the opposition, we will tell them that this is wrong. If something is right in the opposition, we'll tell them this is right. If something is wrong in the UPND or in the ruling party, we'll still do the same. I have been in this organization for a very long time. I've never been part of any government. I've never been part of the Patriotic Front. So even when I am mentioned in regards to the Tonse Alliance, it is because we sit there as an independent body offering checks and balances to the opposition and advising them. So when I'm submitting that the Zambian people are saying that it is very suspicious that the UPND are attempting to go and amend a constitution that ushered them into power in 2021 right before an election, then we should listen to those sentiments of the Zambian people so that we cure. What we want is to help the UPND go in 2026, if they will still be in power, with a clear conscience.
Before you submit, Mr. Mwanza, I want to get you clearly. You mentioned that the UPND should focus on other serious urgent matters.
Yes.
Don't you think that even amending the constitution, it is an urgent matter under the UPND?
Yes, but not like this. What is
the justification? Because every organization is governed by its own manifesto. So when you look at the UPND manifesto, again, it pledges to amend the constitution.
Now,
So, meaning that it is urgent.
yes. Now, no. Let's not speak in that regard, because here what matters is the process, and let's not marginalize the Zambian people or sideline the biggest stakeholders of what we are debating today, the Zambian people. If the Zambian people feel even a hint of suspicion, then it is our mandate, especially as leaders who are privy to some of these things, who sit in high offices, okay, to go down to the people so that we assure them of, we have national security, we have national trust. This is exactly what we are advocating for. If the Zambian people have said it's at a late stage for you to start talking about amending the constitution, when in fact, why are you in a hurry to amend the constitution even though you promised, and you are not in a hurry to fulfill the other promises that you made to the Zambian people?
I'll try to answer that question using the document I have here, which is the UPND manifesto.
Yes.
All right. I'm saying this because every political party governs a nation based on their party manifesto. So among the things we're talking about, which were promised by the UPND, I want to also read to you of the UPND manifesto. If you go to page 34, it talks about good governance. It tells that transparency, accountability, consultation, dialogue between the governors and the governed. To achieve this, there must be a watchdog institutions that ensure the level playing field in the area of governance. Fundamental area of governance. Now, among the things which the UPND promised to achieve in this manifesto, number one, is to ensure that they established a durable constitutional order that to catalyze the political, economic, and social development of the country. To complete this, to complete the constitutional or a reform agenda, which will be anchored on a broad-based, let me not even go further, but the UPND promised to establish a durable constitutional order that to catalyze the political, economic, and social development of the country.
So the question is that this is what you call a durable constitutional order?
No. My question, that's a subject which you can talk about, but I wanted to clear the myths and the belief in you that this is not urgent under the UPND. So if this is contained in the UPND manifesto from 2021 to 2026, means that it can be implemented at any time.
No, look, we are the governed.
From this
we are the governed, and I feel like you're now speaking on their behalf when you say this is urgent.
It's much better because here, what I'm reading the constitution.
Yes, but we are the governed.
The manifesto.
We are the governed,
so
and we have a right to also.
Because I'm driving from here.
We are the governed. We have a right to also advise the government what we need. This is like a household, okay? This is like a household. Can you kindly respect me? This is like a household, all right? And if you even if you see your parents going astray, you as a child who is above 18 and you are conscious, you are able to advise to say, Mdala, apa tentiste so. When I say there are more urgent issues that the UPND are better off looking at, I am talking about the very things that made the UNIP lose power. Things like prices of mini meal, okay? Things like today now in our context, things like load shedding. Yes, please. Things like load shedding, things like the high cost of living, things like corruption, and all manner of things that we, the Zambian people, feel like the UPND have not yet sorted out.
Right.
So that no wonder we are advising them. There's no need for you to rush in changing in amending the constitution. You are better off looking at these issues.
So your answer.
Yeah, maybe innocent.
Wait before you come in, Honorable. Are you telling me that the UPND, they should not fulfill their party manifesto promises?
No, if we are going to go in that regard, then we are being very unfair to the UPND. Have they fulfilled their party manifesto in bringing the price of mini meal to 50 kwacha?
Thank you.
So, innocent.
Hold on there.
Maybe before Honorable comes in.
Okay, let me start
So,
with
maybe
Mr.
before, I think Mr. Mwanza issues political statements. As a civil society,
that's an assumption, my brother.
And I'll qualify it. As a civil society, I want to assume they are technocrats.
Hold on. Are you comfortable that you should justify that?
No. I mean, let him. Don't. You are using assumptions now. I'm not issuing any political statements.
He's telling me, he has assured me as a moderator and the people watching the program that is going to substantiate that. Are you okay with that?
He better be right.
All right. You can substantiate that.
Yeah, so the first thing he said is that we formed a pact. Number two is that I was at the State House sponsored by UPN. That's a political statement. It's not a mind of a civil society organization. Now, here is another justification. In his submission just now, he has said that Zambian people are opposed to Bill 7, for example, due to suspicions. Okay? So that's a vague statement, especially when you are given a platform to, number one, interrogate those proposed amendments. Number two, you are given a platform where you can come, bring out things that you feel are contentious in this thing, so that your suspicions are cleared. Now, this is why I'm saying that those are calculated political statements, innocent. Let me say that the people that started opposing the route that UPND has taken in making the amendments to the Constitution is that the first thing, before even the roadmap was given out, innocent, they said no, they want to remove 50+1 from the Constitution. The running mate is going to be tempered with. And that's what we objected as a consortium. We said, no, let's wait for the roadmap to be out. We can't critique content that we have not seen. Right. So we waited. And when the roadmap and the 13 proposed amendments were out, none of those that were being alleged to be tampered with were on the paper. So then, if you want to engage in a logical, fruitful discourse, especially at national level, we are sensitizing people, as it has been mentioned. So one thing that has killed this country is misinformation. It has killed this country because many people out there who are listening, they will think this is a logical statement. And the reason is they may not have the privilege, innocent you and I have, of holding the proposed amendments, interrogating the facts. And I've just told you that one of the things really, as an interested person in studying law, it's to say that the Constitutional Court declared it is an illegal process. No, that's misinformation. And this is why I said we better have the judgment and see where the Constitutional Court pronounced itself like that. It's not there. Now, this is misinformation we need to actually take away from the audience, because we are going to create a generation that thrives on myths, misconceptions, and true information. And by the way, I come from an organization that prides itself in peace building. One of the drivers of conflict is misinformation. Someone can hate you without interrogating how bad innocent is, because they think the voice of Clifton is the loud voice. This is the right mind. And this is what we need to avoid here. So the people that are opposed to this process, and I hope we are going to get to that. Yeah. I would want, because me, where I come from, as an organization and as a consortium, we are very objective. There are things we have said, these ones are concerning in Bill 7. But does that make us stand and say, stop the process? No. We have an opportunity, innocent, to advocate that this one we have issues with. Please, can you change it? Like he has rightly said, now it's in the hands of Parliament. And the only thing we can do is to advocate. And the only way we can do that is to appear before the select committee and say, this thing that you have said, we hope it can be like this, right, so that when they get the report back to the main house, it will have those recommendations. We don't want to argue from abstract.
Okay, I'll come back to you.
Thank you so much, Innocent. I think what I'm picking from Honorable Xavier, he is giving us a historical background to how the constitution making process has been in this country. And from his mind, he is not approving the process which is going on, and is giving a historical narrative, and he is building it from the colonial up to where we are now. And I appreciate his narration. It's just that at this point, again, we are sensitizing the people, but we might not have the opportunity to go the route he's proposing. But his historical perspective, it holds water. He, in his mind, he thinks we didn't need to amend this process. He's advocating for a complete overhaul.
Yes.
Maybe that's a conversation for another day. But I just want also to comment.
Thought about that, you as a parliamentarian.
Yeah. So for me,
he has mentioned that he's a disappointed person, disappointed man, because we are.
I think what is comforting me is that he's disappointed.
Not with NGC, but all the government.
That is what is comforting me.
And you cannot blame where we are. Like for instance, the mistake we make is to blame anybody.
Right.
We have to collectively take responsibility as Zambians.
Right.
That's the thing.
Not just the politicians, all of us.
Yeah. That's correct.
This is 21 years. Why are we here? That's the question. And how can we come out of where we are?
Yes.
I think that's a very important.
So I think that is his angle. Right. But I also want to comment from my colleague. He's referring this as a Sejutu.
Yes.
Not even a constitution.
Yes.
So we were not there. The background is we are learning. We were not there, but we are learning something. But for me, I think right now the government is on firm grounds. We can have an opportunity to do a complete overhaul, but that does not stop the president using his executive powers to make amendments, because the process of amendment making is also enshrined in the laws. So it is not outside context. But the decision, if we want to do a complete overhaul, it's something that we can do. Then I also want to make a comment on my colleague Jason, that the European government, why is it in a rush? Unfortunately, even from our manifesto, you cannot labor innocent to ask someone from a Tons Alliance to understand what is contained in the UPND manifesto. That is a very wrong question. Because me, I'm the one who understands what is contained in that manifesto. And the mandate of the UPND, according to that manifesto, we made a decision in that manifesto that we were going to make constitutional reforms. Because we knew that there were a lot of lacunas in this constitution. And according to that mandate that the Zambians have given the people of Zambia through President Hichilema, it's not enshrined that we were supposed to amend the constitution in 2025. Our mandate goes up to 2026. We have a constitutional mandate. Unless somebody wants to take over government, we can make any decision even a day before elections. Constitutionally, we have the mandate to make any decision within the confines of the constitution, because it has a time frame. And the time when this constitution will expire is at the point when we shall go for elections. He is saying we should concentrate on important things. I think that kind of thinking, that constitution making, is not an important thing. We will now start questioning objective number 2, where we are proposing for a mixed member proportion, where we want youths to come. If this is a kind of thinking. Because if you understand governance, you cannot throw away constitution making. This same Bill 10 is what will ensure that the issues is raising, they are addressed. What is Bill 10 going to do?
Bill 7.
Bill 7. Yeah. And I also want to mention, Innocent, the issue of misconception that you mentioned. Look, we've been here for 1 hour. We have spent, and this is how the public are also being misled. We have spent 1 hour talking about the general things. We are not pointing out what provisions are not good. So this is how people who are misleading the public about Bill 10 are also doing it. Bill 7. That is how they are doing it. You see, when we are discussing Bill 7, we should go provision by provision. Can we look at this provision? What is the problem? Can we look at this? Because you see, no, this is how the people who are misleading the public are also doing it. They are just saying, why don't you want Bill 7? We hate HH. Yes. No.
Right.
Why don't you want Bill 7? We hate UPND. No. You see, that is shallow thinking. We should be very factual. When you are opposing Bill 7, you can't say because we opposed Bill 10, so should oppose. You can't say there's road shading. We cannot do Bill 10. I think that level of thinking is very shallow.
Yeah, maybe his concern is that which one is better? Ending load shedding today or reducing the price of meal today and amending the constitution?
In terms of what?
Which one could be a priority?
In terms of what?
Which one should be a priority? Which one is more urgent right now?
No. We have a manifesto, and we've got even the issue of ending if the things that are enshrined there. If you check our manifesto, we talked of electoral reforms. We talked of constitutional reforms within our mandate.
But of course,
we are
we
not
can
given a
prioritize.
timeline. The same with he mentioned about reducing the price of minimum.
Yeah.
I know it's a priority, but you do
Have
not.
you done that?
You do not reduce the price of minimum overnight.
Right.
In our manifesto there, we are talking of reforming the agriculture system. You see, there should always be fundamentals in every process. Do you know that every sane mind will agree with me that even this road shading issue, you cannot deal with this road shading within a blink of an eye. Practically not possible. But for anyone who is logical in thinking, he will be able to see the fundamentals that are being put in place,
Right.
and you would be able to agree that there's a. Let me give an example. Reducing road shading. In the previous government, there was no light at the end of the tunnel. That there was nothing significant which was being done to address the issue of road shading. But today, you will know what is being done. Let's give an example of one of the even the same issue of minimum. You cannot address the cost of minimum overnight. There are fundamentals. How are we revising the agriculture sector? You know that we are making reforms on FISIP.
Right.
You know we're making reforms around SAF. So there are always fundamentals, and the government is given a mandate to govern within a period of time.
All right, Honorable, just take your time a bit before Doc comes. I want us to watch just one video in there so that we understand where we're coming from as a nation and where we are. I think Doc gave us a synopsis of Zambia's constitutional making process up to where we are and how the future looks like. So it will be important that we listen to this video later on. I will allow all of you to give a comment.
We need to thank the Catholic Church through their bishops for rejecting Bill 10, for providing leadership in rejecting Bill 10.
All right, so that video basically is talking about Bill 10 under the PF administration, and that was President Hakainde Hichilema who was thanking the church for rejecting Bill 10, if you remember. And according to him, I remember he did mention that if it was him who was in power at the time, he would have allowed the church to spearhead the constitutional making process. Today you are in power, Honorable Mutinta. Why haven't you allowed the three church mother bodies, as it was suggested, to drive this process? Within a minute.
No, unfortunately, I didn't. You see, this is how manipulation works.
Right.
You want me to comment on a video that I didn't understand?
So hold on there.
But there should also be a background. Don't just put someone 2 minutes.
Yes.
Where I just talked about rejecting, then you want me to comment.
Right. So
there
on,
must
be
there should be a background. Yes.
Thank you so much. Hold on. Let's play another video, Director, so that Honorable Mutinta can understand.
We need to thank the Catholic Church through their bishops for rejecting Bill 10, for providing leadership in rejecting Bill 10. Beloved citizens, citizens of Zambia, Bill 10 is poison. Bill 10 is black mamba poison. It's lethal. It's deadly. No matter how much sugar you pour in a cup of poison or with poison, the cup will remain poisonous. And this is the case with Bill 10. Everything the PF claimed to be good about Bill 10, any clause that the PF claims is good about Bill 10, it is nullified by the despicable clauses that will roll back years of democratic progress in our country. And we should not allow that to happen. Indeed, we shouldn't, because it would be a grave mistake. We ask all well-meaning members of parliament, MPs, I mean all members of parliament, to reject Bill 10 and to reject it outright. The debates have been going on for too long around Bill 10. The people of Zambia have spoken against Bill 10. Churches, civil society, upright political parties, and others very loudly and clearly that Bill 10 is not acceptable in our country. I draw particular attention to UPND members of parliament. Reject Bill 10. As a party, you know the position of UPND. That is against Bill 10. We have discussed as a team in UPND time and again, and we've concluded that Bill 10 will harm this country, will harm human rights, will harm democracy, will harm the rule of law. Very clear. Reject Bill 10, all UPND members of parliament. NDC member of parliament, lone member of parliament, reject Bill 10. Independent members of parliament, my dear colleagues, reject Bill 10. Indeed, PF members of parliament, well-meaning PF members of parliament, you too are no different from your colleagues. We expect no less than we expect from your other colleagues. Reject Bill 10. Because you know in your heart that this is wrong. Members of parliament ought to be on the right side of history. And to be on the right side of history, you have to be on the side of the people of Zambia. People are hurting. We must draw our attention away from Bill 10 by bringing closure now to this dreadful Bill 10.
You're still watching the bigger program right on KBN TV from Zambia's capital city, Lusaka. I am your host, IP. Honorable Mutinta Twambo, what did you pick from that video now?
Yeah, thank you so much. So, Innocent, I want to mention that contexts, they differ. The context that was there at the point when there was a discussion of Bill 10 and the context that we are in is different. So we have the mandate to make amendments. And when you are in government, you are given the instruments of power to drive a process. And you drive a process in the manner that you want, getting the blessings from the people, through consulting the people. So when the PF were in the driving seat, then they were driving the agenda of enacting Bill 10. But to the best of our knowledge as UPND, just like the President did mention, there were certain contents that were overriding the entire process. I know
which ones were
that
those?
there are contents. I'll give an example. There was a content that was going to take away the powers of Parliament from consulting when government wants to borrow. That was economical suicide. You cannot allow such kind of contents in a constitution making process. Right now, do you know that government cannot borrow without a borrowing plan? It came through an SI. That was one of the most suicidical economical mistake that was going to be made. And we were looking at the economics at that time. And we agreed that we were not going to support that based on that process as one of the processes. Then when you come to the consultation, we have done our homework. We've consulted widely. State House has now become a home for everyone. How many times has the President met civil society, the church, and everyone? They could have not consulted widely. And if we judged their level of consultation to be inadequate at that point, they should not judge our level of consultation to be inadequate now.
What is being said in that video from President Akande Shema back in the opposition? It doesn't matter the good clauses that may have been incorporated. The fact remains that the entire document is poisonous.
So it was
You
poisonous,
get that?
poisonous because of the one of the overriding content, one of the overriding issue I've raised, and also the process. You see, governance is governance is an art.
Hold on. I want us to establish this. So the fact remains that Bill 10 was poisonous. It doesn't matter if it carried out maybe one or two progressive clauses. It was bad.
At that point, that
At
was
that
our
point it was
that
bad,
was
right?
our position.
Yes. So
That was our position at that point.
And today in Bill 7, are you telling me that all the clauses are suitable to carry the support?
No. Despite the president making that appeal, there's no one who went to protest on the roads. There's no one who was saying, "Can you squash this process?" The process went on until it reached Parliament.
My question is very simple.
He was advocating. In governance, you need to advocate.
Yes. So
and even now, there are people that are advocating. So the president, in his right frame of mind, according to the philosophy of the party, the agreement of the party, was that we are not going to agree because the overriding principles that were making the bill poisonous. Now, what I'm saying is, despite him making that appeal, which is also the opportunity that our colleagues can also make, let them come to me. Let them come and convince to me.
Clauses in Bill 7.
Yes.
Progressive, all of them.
Very good question. And that is what we were supposed to be discussing all this 1 hour, so that we help the public to understand. So just like I did mention, Innocent, we are at a point where the 13 provisions, they are now at the select committee. And I'll tell you that some of the provisions that are making our friends to be aggrieved now, who knows? I'll give an example. I don't agree to the provision that if a member of parliament dies, he should be replaced by the party. But I'm not sure. Maybe
too technical in your response.
No. So let me finish my thought. Let me not lose my thought.
Then I will allow you to explain.
Yes. Let me finish my thought. So,
are you telling me that what is contained currently in Bill 7 is progressive? All the 13 clauses, are they progressive?
In the mind of us,
according to you, as a member of parliament.
Okay. According to me.
Yes.
And that I belong to the government that has initiated that. In our mind, it is progressive.
Okay.
But I want to mention that in a democratic dispensation, using the law and using the existing establishments, in my mind, I'm saying what my party sponsored is progressive. Right. But I need to allow democracy, and I need to allow established systems to be at play.
Right.
And the established systems, it's what transpired. Technical committee, select committee, and there will also be an opportunity for what I think is correct to be subjected to a vote in parliament. That is how democracy works.
Right.
So at that point, we were not agreeable. And I want to give, this is an opportunity now for PF and any other political party, the opposition, all those who are not agreeing, to convince us so that when we go on the floor of the house, we vote no. But what I can assure you is that from the terrain that we're in, including the PF members of parliament, they are agreeable to what is contained. The context by then, I will not know it, I was not in parliament, but the members of parliament, where some of our colleagues here are coming from, unfortunately, they've seen a logic. We have talked to them in the correct language. We have lobbied to them in the correct way. We have advanced how the process was conducted. And I can confidently tell you that they are in support of the provisions. But I want to tell you that we cannot preempt the process. The technical committee is sitting and the parliament will still vote. So in case there is a provision, that's why I wanted us to labor, to talk about, so that people can appreciate whether what we are proposing is good or bad. In case there is a, so I want to mention that in case there is a bad, look, Innocent, in case there is something bad on that bill, government has not imposed anything. There will be an opportunity. Now people are making submissions, and there will also be an opportunity for people to vote no for the bill. That is how democracy works. So the president that then he was advocating, when we went to parliament, his message, it resounded to any DC, it resounded even to the ruling MPs who voted against it, and it resounded to the European members.
All right. Thank you so much. Doc, my question to you within 2 minutes. When you look at, first of all, have you gone through the 13 proposed clauses?
Not at all.
You haven't?
I haven't, on principle.
Right.
As I've said,
I like that.
I'm coming from a background where nationalist. I grew up in such a home of nationalists. I think that we are doing ourselves a disservice. The clause which we read in the UPND manifesto, first of all, the fact that we have UPND in government, that document is not just a UPND document. It's a government document.
It's a national document.
It's a national document.
Right.
So, what is being implemented, what is public policy now, is being informed by the party manifesto.
That's correct.
So now the very fact that the UPND spoke about coming up with a durable constitution, it means that this is a very important process. Now, what is a durable constitution? This is a constitution which is popularly accepted by all. Now they were saying the entire process itself, the way it has been rushed, is not in good faith. Bill 7 is no different from Bill 10. It's as simple as that. All we are saying is that, can the UPND, for once, give the people of Zambia a durable constitution? Because when the UPP commit, for instance, ourselves in our manifesto that in 100 days, we will call for a constituent assembly where we bring people from all walks of life, the church, the civil society organizations, law associations, the laws. We are talking about young people. Everyone must be in that assembly. And for once, we must put a break to this colonial Schedule 2, which I've maintained. It's very shameful that at the time that we have more learned people, more people are educated, we are still entertaining this same Schedule 2. That's the issue that we have in our case. We have a big issue with this, that why are all governments looking at political expediency? Already, look, Zambia is a hybrid system. It's a confusion. We have a presidential system as well as parliamentary system. Look at South Africa. South Africa is a parliamentary system where the president also sits in parliament. The party with the majority MPs forms government. You understand that? That's the parliamentary system. In the presidential system, the president cannot be part of parliament. Now in Zambia, the president is part of parliament because it's called parliament when he's actually there. If he's not there, it's a national assembly. You understand that? Yeah. Now, if the president is part of parliament, how parliament say, oh, Mr. President, a state house has misappropriated the funds, of course there's a controlling officer, it's not the president, it's a controlling officer at state house, by the way, or look at what your government has done, it's part of the government. If ministers, the way it is, are in parliament, how can the same ministers who must be able to account to a part of the executive be part of checks and balances? This is wrong. And this is what Zambians have said. So any kind of amendments of that Schedule 2, which actually serves momentary or ephemeral political interest, is not helping our country.
Right.
That is our bone of contention right now. And in fact, because I'm talking about the constitution, to bring in the issues of electricity minimum is totally irrelevant. There must be another platform where we talk about policies now. You get my point? Energy, cost of living, and so forth. Right now, we're talking about the supreme law of the land. And one of the issues is that we have a strong presidency, which is not good for the country.
Look, when you say that again, I will also insist to say, why didn't you go through the 13 proposed clauses? Because we are discussing the constitution, so you should have spent time.
No. There's no. It's on principle. I'm telling you, it's on principle.
Yeah.
You know, when Americans in 1787, no, 1777, when they stood up to write articles of separation from the British government, they didn't have to worry to go into the details of what's the law in Britain. No, they came up with articles, and they said, this is why we want to separate from the British. We are now an independent country. Congress. And then they met in an assembly, 2 years in Philadelphia. There was nothing like I'm the president. No, all Americans from all walks of life were represented. Tens of thousands met to craft the American Constitution. And since that was from 1787, 1789, until now, we are talking about only like Second Amendment, where a particular clause, there was one amendment when they gave a president a third term. They said, no. We need to put it now clearly in the Constitution that you can only run for 2 terms. Few amendments. Now here is Zambia, which is less than 61 years old. Look at the amendments. Every government that has come into power has amended this document. So what we are saying is, can we give the people of Zambia a break to this British legal system? Because everything is British, for information. We need to put a legal break to say bye to this British system, to meet as a conference or an assembly, and give ourselves a durable constitution. That's a very important document. It's the second document, actually. Second co-ed, by the way, in the document. Durable constitution, popularly accepted by all Zambians. And then also to state that for the first time, this is the second kind of submissions. It's possible to have more submissions where you only take a particular section. If I know I'm driving the process, I'll go to people members. Those I know will support. And we'll pick them, ferry them quickly, we fix it. And in terms of the duration also, you'll find that I think this is one of the quickest processes ever. In a few months that we have consulted, we are going to Parliament. Now compare with all others. It was like years, at least the entire year, we were consulting. Now first they go to Parliament, and then of course it's the bill is withdrawn. And I don't think that the withdrawal was because of the Concord ruling. I think they withdrew before the ruling came out. You understand that? That's to my knowledge. Before the ruling came out, they withdrew.
Yes.
You understand that?
Yes.
Whether they didn't tell, they're in government. We cannot tell. But what we are saying is that, for once, out of that's even self-dignity, why can't you become, in fact, to me, this issue is also an election issue. Because people say the integrity, well, you say, okay, probably, let's say if you had like more years, or from the beginning, if this process is started, appointing an assembly, consulting widely, so that everyone is on board to say for once.
So the bottom line is a wider.
That's the bottom line. And then, by the way, just to look, during the previous regime, the PF regime, they enacted. I'm giving this example: a piece of legislation, which is the IDC Act, where the president is the chairperson of the IDC, Industrial Development Corporation, I think. Yeah. So where all SOEs are under this. This is not a UPND law. It was enacted by the previous government. Now, that time we did say that you cannot have the president to be the chairperson of this IDC, where ESO, ZESCO, everything, mines, they are under this IDC as the holding company. So the problem with this is that the president already in Zambia is too strong. When you say cabinet, you are saying the president. Do you know that? Today, cabinet can pass a resolution. The president is not bound by those resolutions. Tomorrow he can change, because he or she can change, because of an executive president, very strong president. Now here we are, and of course we know, I was an MP, of course, as you know. Every moment I tried to bring a private member's bill, it was impossible. That's academic in Zambia. It must have the support of the executive. It's totally academic, and you can't blame, we need to blame ourselves as a nation. You can't finger point that this one is wrong. That's why this debate has so much animosity. There's so much animosity because they're finger pointing. Where we are didn't start with UPND. It started from UNIT.
That's correct.
Sustained under MMD, sustained under entrenched under PF, and then now here we are. So we are sweating. It will take, really, I'm telling you, the hand of heaven. Zambians must pray to God. What I'm telling the truth. What I'm saying is very serious. It will take prayer, the hand of God, to intervene in the affairs of this country, at least to have a sober leadership. That will say, for once, out of the fear of heaven, let us put a break to this. The country must go to work. Can you imagine? At one time, when I was member of parliament, Honorable Shakarima, the Minister of Education, we are very close. We are very close friends. Sometimes, me, I was a PFMP. I would stand there to go against the party position. Why? Because I understood that I'm a nationalist, Pan-Africanist, and I know where the country must go, independently. And sometimes would argue with Honorable Shakarima that the time would say a madman in the State House, the entire country would go into madness because of the so much power which is at the center. Would say that Honorable Shakarima, would say these things I'm talking about. So what you're saying, this is a problem already. We need to put powers in institutions of governance. Right. The president appoints DSC commissioners, ACC, now we're going to IDC. Everything is the president. Again, this is not a PND, this is not a PND law. This is a law we have sustained from UNIT until now. So what we are saying is that, can we put a break to this? It's not just about those clauses I'm talking about. Right. You can have clauses that are progressive. Right. But as long as we don't deal with governance, I can assure you, everything will just be white elephant.
Thank you so much.
Again, I'm also hearing, just from here, not that I've read, I must say this, because out of principle I've not read, but I've read that they are saying now there'll be mixed member system, I think something like that. We are adding to more confusion again. Parliamentary system, presidential, mixed member. Where are we going as a country? This is the problem. We are a sick country, all of us are sick. And we need to cure ourselves of this sickness by popularly getting together in unity, above sectional interests, and put Zambia before us.
Thank you so much, Doc. Just hold on there. Let's hear from Mr. Mwanza quickly your submission that you guys.
Thank you very much.
On the video and also
yes.
the submissions.
You see, some of the things that I'm picking is that, first of all, because I'll address the Honorable Member of Parliament with all due respect. He's a very unpatriotic citizen of this nation. You see, when you ask him a question of whether he feels that the clauses in Bill 7 are all progressive, he said, no, because of the party that enacted it. He's not acting according to his own accord and his own will. Okay, he's bound to the hypocrisy that is being enacted by his ruling party, and this is a problem that we have with these members of parliament. He is here he's contradicting himself. He says, no, you can talk to me, you have an opportunity to bring some of your submissions and all that. What else? He knows well that there is nowhere that those submissions are going, because he's bound to the feelings and sentiments of his political party, not to the right thing. So even when he comes here and say, no, because it is the party that I subscribe to that enacted this, then I feel that it is right. That is wrong, number one. Lastly,
and of course he can even be expelled. I mean, somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah, me, I was expelled.
If he does the right thing.
Unfortunately, I believe in the ideology of the party.
Right.
I believe in the ideology of the party, and I believe that it can have opinions that when they are subjected to a democratic process,
right,
some of them, they can be challenged. That's
Okay.
democracy.
Let me land.
Let him proceed.
Yes, thank you very much. So we've sorted that one out. So let's not even arouse the Zambian people by saying, no, you can bring submissions, you can talk, and all that will fall on deaf ears. The clip that you played.
So is he saying all the 13 will go as they are? So he has
they are poisonous, regardless.
So he has judged that there is nothing that will be dropped from this process. Is that what you're saying? All the 13 they'll go the way they are proposed?
Okay, it's a question. Let him answer.
Coming from UPND.
Let him
Yes,
answer.
Of course.
So what if some of the provisions they are dropped at the final stage? What would be your opinion? You don't
My
believe
opinion,
that?
I share the same opinion as your boss. Let all of them be dropped, because a cup of poison is poisonous. Whether you put sugar in it or not, the cup still remains poisonous. Now here is the thing. When that clip was cut, you cut it at a very wrong time, because I was expecting what he was about to say. He said, let us draw closure. To what? To the high cost of living. He was encouraging the Patriotic Front to drop the debate about Bill 10 and draw closure to the high cost of living. The same things that I said, sharing the same sentiments as his boss, and he called me that I'm shallow-minded. That is a very big insult. I don't appreciate that, comrade. I do not appreciate that. You cannot come here and start saying we are pushing for mixed representation and mixed proportional representation, and if these are the kind of youth that we are taking to parliament, then I'm worried. That is a very big insult, and I demand for an apology.
I maintain that opinion, because that kind of thinking for me, it was not adding up. You cannot say constitutionalism is not important. No, I think that is not correct. I'll stick to that.
Thank you so much.
Then we stand in the same frame with his boss, because I share the same sentiments that his boss shared back then when he was in opposition. So the point is this: I still maintain, just like the president of this nation, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, that we need to start drawing closure to more important national issues, such as the high cost of living, and drop these poisonous bills. All this while and all this time, they've spent time talking about my preamble. They are still going back to my preamble, and this is the way I speak. By the way, I'm very calm. I'm a very calm individual. I may not be as calm as you, who at least eat 3 meals a day, but I'm a very calm individual, and this is how I speak.
Why don't you eat 3 meals?
Because you have subjected us to poverty.
Because of what the PF left.
You have subjected us to poverty.
Also, what the PF left.
Because we voted for you so that you change what
if the PF left,
but you have failed and you've made it.
We have 5.2 billion
hold on, Mr. Mwanza, hold on.
in the foreign reserve now.
Right.
We are trying to reconstruct the country which was on its knees. We have a country that had overborrowed. We are restoring the dignity of this country very soon. Things are normal. We are dealing with fundamentals. And someone who is coming from the opposition, he should be the last one to talk about the suffering of the Zambians.
Why?
PF left this country in a mess. If it was not for this European government, with what we have done in the shortest period of time, this country would have been more disastrous. So instead of him lamenting, he was supposed to be the first one to apologize. The destruction, the damage which was left by the PF, to understand that today we're talking about 2 million children back in school. That's something which is unimaginable. That we can be talking that 2 million children are back in school. That we're talking about CDF today, after considering how the country was left in a debt, how the country was distracted, I think he's not the right person to comment.
He's
He was supposed to be apologizing right
comrades, I was still on the floor.
You on the floor?
Yes. Why is it eating into my time?
No, no.
Because he's here now misleading the nation. He's talking about.
You are on the floor,
Yes.
so you can now submit.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, here is the thing that these same self-appraisal tendencies of the UPND is what is destroying this nation even more. You talk about the Patriotic Front. First of all, it is clear I was never part of the Patriotic Front government. I've never been part of any government. Okay? Now, when you talk of the Patriotic Front, the people of Zambia kicked out Patriotic Front to usher you into government via the promises that you made to the people, which you have not fulfilled. You keep talking about going back to school, when you are avoiding talking about other problems. That same policy
and
of
you
back
see,
to school has
fundamentals.
created.
That is why education is very important.
Kaidi, I'm not getting worried.
It's because there was no free education. So
he was
there was no
electrically voted, and look at how he's behaving.
So there was no free education to give him an opportunity to understand issues. That is why we've brought free education, so that we allow people to be level-headed and appreciate certain things. So the
Like
consequences
Like the high
of
cost
him.
of living under
So the
UPND.
consequences of him not
No.
appreciating education is what is
So he's
elaborating.
going to now draw
Okay,
into
thank you so much.
no.
These are the effects of not having free education.
Why are you not
Let-
protecting
let-
me
allow
from
me
him?
to
Because
create
I had not
sanity a
yet
bit.
planned
Let me
it.
create sanity a bit. Mr. Mwanza, within a minute, can
Yes.
you submit? Then
Thank
we'll
you.
also down.
Thank you. So when he comes and starts talking about free education, which has also come with its own problems, okay, he avoids talking about those problems. Number two, he comes with CDF when the members of parliament themselves, they have complained that they haven't received the full amount of money that keeps on increasing year after year. So these are non-issues that he is bringing on the table. And even if he talks about the country was on its knees and there's this much in the coffers now, it does not translate to the bag of minimum going to 50 kwacha. Therefore, the Zambian people don't appreciate.
My question to you is that, have you gone through the 13 proposed clauses?
No.
In Bill 7?
No, for a very good reason. Because even if I go through the clauses, of course, I've gone through a majority of them, a number of them. I've met with a lot of members of the UPND to also get their sentiments. Why? How do you feel about what your political party is propelling?
Which ones have you gone through? And which ones have you consulted?
There is one that talks about, getting powers from the people to elect a member of parliament in the event that a member of parliament dies. The party will simply usher in or will appoint another person from the party, taking away the rights of the people to vote. I've also seen another clause that also that talks about increment, the delimitation, increasing the number of constituencies. I've seen a clause that also makes the president increase the number of appointees in terms of members of parliament. Okay, there's an increment in the number of members of parliament that he is going to appoint. So quite a number of them. I may not remember all of them right now, but I'm getting both sides. Okay, right. So that we see how. But the thing is that when we look at, that is why I was saying you can still compare these to Bill 10, because they were still in Bill 10. Bill 10 still proposed that we go to 211 constituencies, an increment, speaking to an increment in constituencies, which was opposed by the UPND. Okay, it was also speaking to an increment in the number of members of parliament that the president was going to appoint. Right. Speaking to the same thing, it was also going to restructure the way we were doing by-elections, still speaking to the same things. Now, the thing is that when you look at the people that shut down Bill 10 and the way they came out, the president of this country now, Hakainde Hichilema, never gave content or context to why the people should shoot down Bill 10. Even the clip that you played, there was no context whatsoever. All he kept saying was the people should shoot down Bill 10. Well-meaning Zambians should reject Bill 10. The churches should reject Bill 10. Why? Politically, he was thinking, unless it is us. And that is why when you have people such as him who come into power, even though he knows the right thing to do, because he subscribes to this particular political party, he is still going to do the wrong thing in support of his political party. No wonder I have no time to go through the 13 clauses, because even if I do, I submit. Here they are. The Zambian people have cried out to say, we don't want this clause, just as they did in the previous regime, and the previous regime actually stepped down. They have still gone ahead, and we wonder just how far they will go in order for them to achieve what they want to achieve.
Don't you think that as a young person like you, who is a youth, it's more dangerous for you not to have gone through failure to comprehend each and every clause or proposed clause in the Constitution. Because we're talking about your future. We're talking about the future of today. And you as a Gen Z, don't you think it's more injurious not to have gone through this so that you can be debating from an informed position?
First impression matters, comrade. First impression matters. The way they came to the Zambian people, the way we were finding out about certain these things is an impression that scared us. And as a nation, we go in defense mode to defend our constitution as long as there's an indicator that shows that someone wants to rape the constitution, we'll go in defense mode. So what I'm saying right now is that in this period, it is not really a bone of contention that we should start looking at Bill 7. Right. We should look at draw closure to the high cost of living.
Yes. Wow. Doc, he wants to come in. Should I give you a minute quickly? Because I want to come to Mr. Oh, he didn't speak. Please proceed.
Okay. Yeah, what I want to say is that in terms of the rule of law, as I said, on principle, we haven't read those, I think, and I've given a sufficient background why we believe that Zambians need a durable constitution so that we can put a break to the British legal system, which is very important in my view, because they're a sovereign state. Like India and other countries, Botswana, name them. They did that. That's why we have a right of amendment of constitution in Botswana since independence. Here we are. And all these younger countries, by the way, in terms of when we get it.
They're actually doing doc now.
You see, but all I'm saying is that at least now for us, it's like every president must have his own constitution. And I think that's a problem. Every political party that comes into power. Some of them more times. Of course, the PF attempted 2 times, it didn't work for them. So now, all we are saying is that if there is a ruling of Concord regarding Bill 7, if you thought it was withdrawn, I think, before the ruling, as I said, but it was being challenged while the debates were going on in the House. And let's assume that the amendment, Bill 7, goes through, the amendments take place. I think there could be a danger. Let's say government changes. The danger which could come is that if that is challenged, it will be like what we saw happening under the PF. When there was a challenge in the Concord, that ministers who continued in office up to elections were there in office illegally. In the end, they ended up paying back. Now, can you imagine the cost to the nation if we went ahead and then on the strength that the Concord pronounced itself on Bill 7, I think that was the subject, Bill 7, and that the process, of course, needs to be more consultative and all that. Now, should it happen that somebody else arises, tomorrow again to sue, that look, in terms of consultations, we believe that whether it was 1 month or 2 months, still we believe that many Zambians were not consulted. For instance, I think that submissions were just at provincial headquarters level. So if you are in Pemba, you must go to. Yeah.
There was also an online,
physical
and online.
Whatever, yeah. But what we are saying is that again, especially online, there must be some kind of an incentive to monitor that, because this is subject to fraud. When I'm talking about online, anybody can go and then push in what they want. And then you find that the same contents that were there before, the same consultations, are the same contents. That can be challenged, that they're just using this to impose what they want. No wonder we are saying, when it comes to the Constitution, the executive is a creature of the Constitution, just like Parliament. So therefore these cannot side on the Constitution. The Constitution, being the supreme charter of the land, must be decided upon by the people in a given country, in this case Zambians. No wonder they change. And other stakeholders. Of course, when I say stakeholders, we are saying, of course, there are some, CSOs, of course, that are comfortable, but then we are saying that we believe that the fact that there is so much tension on this issue, there is need for once to give Zambia a break. And I think that, to me, if our president can engage them, I'll listen to the people, and I think it will be a plus even for the elections. That is a listening president. Because this power we are seeing, nobody ever thought PF would go out of power. Nobody ever imagined. And we are saying some will not rule whatever 100 years. That's what we are saying. This power is.
So what is your position currently as a doc? Would you want
just withdraw it? Okay. And if possible, if that will start today, that let's now start consulting, we put a framework to get Zambians from walks of life nicely. I think that, to me,
Right.
This can be UPN to be a challenge to beat.
Right.
If they did this, listen to the people.
Interesting. Your point is
In my view, this free advice which I'm giving.
Thank you so much, Doc. Let me go back to Mr. Chukwu there. Now, I'll go back to the UPND manifesto, which talks about making reforms to the constitution, which, of course, it is clear that we have established that is within its rightful roadmap right
It
now.
is, it is.
Now, I'll pick a bulletin number B, what says to make reforms to the Zambian constitution. The UPND will complete a constitutional reform agenda anchored on a broad-based consensus among all Zambians. On a broad-based consensus among all Zambians. And that's where now the issue is. Has the UPND managed to consult or to conduct a broad-based consensus among all Zambians? Or number D says, to review the process of expanding the Bill of Rights to integrate economic, social, and cultural rights. Have all these things been considered under the UPND, under this bill which is being talked about?
Thank you, Innocent. First of all, I must say that Zambia is a representative democracy.
Yeah.
That's the first key thing to understand. Is that in all these constitutional making or amendment processes we've talked about, not all the 12
You
million
can't
or 20
parade all the
million,
20
they can't
million
come.
people.
Hold on there before
yes.
you even proceed.
Yes.
So what did this clause
Broad-based.
mean according to you? Yeah, thank you, Doc.
No, I was coming.
Broad-based
Yeah,
consensus
I
among
was,
all Zambians. I'm reading here. So what does it mean according to you?
But that's semantics, Innocent. It's English.
From me or from your manifesto?
No, the document, that's English.
So these were semantics from your document?
No, I mean that when someone says broad-based
Uh-huh.
consultation,
From?
Zambians.
Can you
All
read it
Zambians.
again? Maybe can you read
Yes,
it again?
yes, even all
Read it again.
Zambians,
Let me
it does
read
not.
it.
When you mean all Zambians, when him
Yes.
is here, he's representing the constituents. So it does not mean we shall parade all the 20 people.
Thank
That's
you.
not
So
how
let
it
me
works
read
now.
again, so that if it's to get
It's a context.
offended, you should get offended through your document, not to me.
yes.
So I'll read again. So the UPND manifesto says to establish a durable constitutional order that will catalyze the political, economic, and social development of the country. On B, it says to complete the constitutional reform agenda anchored on a broad-based consensus among all Zambians.
Now I think the key term
So-
is broad-based.
Yes, broad-based.
So broad-based,
Yes.
we are looking at a cross-section of society. Like
Correct.
America, we have many examples.
Yes.
India, even Kenya. That's what they did finally when they were at the conference.
Right.
You know, so what you are saying, when I'm saying broad-based, if for instance, if we are to do a forensic audit of all submitted, in terms of, let's look, what are the political affiliations?
Yes.
Maybe you find that to be questionable. That no, it was only the one section of society which submitted. So when I'm saying broad-based, we have lawyers,
Yes.
we have manufacturers associations,
Yes.
we have chiefs, we have local authorities, members of parliament as well. They're
Yes.
part of the,
Yes. And
even the
CSOs.
executive itself.
And when we mean
everybody.
CS, we're not talking about Oasis Forum.
No, yeah, so you look at categories.
When you say the church, we're not talking about the SDA.
You look at categories of all these. If it's churches, we look at the mother
Yes.
bodies.
Innocent,
Mother bodies,
I
they are
was
churches.
on
They are
the
churches.
Let me
podium.
get back
Yes,
to
I was on
Mr.
the
Chukwu
podium.
again. Sorry for cutting
So
you. Yes.
I started by saying we are a representative democracy.
Yes.
We elect members of parliament. So the moment they come here, 156,
Yes.
that's broad-based. Zambians have brought them in one
Yes.
house
Right.
to enact laws. So if you want to talk about broad-based, we can start from there. Number two, I want to give very practical examples. In 2012, President Michael Sata attempted to actually amend the constitution. Okay? He actually appointed a technical committee as well, just as now.
Although I wanted
So,
us to do
now I'll
fast
come.
forward
You know,
because,
no,
you
I'll
requested me to ask you to go through the clauses.
Yes, I'll come because I need to
Okay.
give a
Context.
background,
Okay.
Innocent.
Okay.
So he appointed the technical committee. So they started by drafting the bill or the constitution.
Right.
Then he took it to the districts. From the districts, it came to the province to the national. Okay? So if you are talking about consultation, I would not be wrong, Innocent, to say that...
Did you say under Michael Sata?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
in 2012.
Yes.
So he actually did that. The technical committee, what they did was to draft first the bill itself, or the constitution, if you like.
Yes.
That's the document they took to the people. okay, at district level. They selected maybe
And
35.
that's a method.
35.
One of the
yeah.
methods someone can choose.
You see? So from there, they came at provincial. From provincial, national. So they were within the right that the president had as terms of references to do that. So were they doing broad-based? Yes. Because at that district level, it was not closed-ended that only people from the PF should come and submit. It was all Zambians, as the case is now. Now the difference, Innocent, with this new process, and I must say that as a consortium of CSOs, we have been at the center pushing for the amendments. Why it has been, this is a long overdue issue. Innocent, I have told you here that we've initiated, we've written to the president. No, I think what the minister is doing, please can we restart the process and do the right thing? Graciously, they accepted. We convened, and the president said, no, let's form a technical committee to consult. I'm coming to that.
Let's move quickly, time is not on our side.
So I'm coming to that.
Because I want to ask you whether you've also gone through the
No, I have. Like I've told,
So
this is something that we have been, and I've told you earlier on, before the Honorable submitted that, actually us, we refused to stay away from the process. Why? We want to interrogate the content. So that even as we are doing advocacy, it's evidence-based, not just issuing statements that are inflammatory out of context. No. I will tell you that, Innocent, we interrogated those 13 proposed amendments. And we have made submission to the committee as it was sitting in provinces, and also to the select committee at Parliament. We have refused to stay away from the process because we don't want to be victims of something that we never participated in. It's very dangerous. So in a democracy, Innocent, it's okay. Some will be for, others against. And I've told you that this process, we started it with those that have petitioned. By the way, we had applied to join in the petition. And as I think yesterday, we were joined to the petition because we believe that you cannot say the process was not people-driven when you were not in the process. It is us who were in the process to tell you that it was people-driven because we participated. So we have joined that case. The court will be given an opportunity to understand because I come from an organization with representatives in provinces. So we told our members, don't stay away. The best is whether you agree or disagree, go and submit your disagreement.
That's
because
democracy.
But the committee is not going to reject it and say, no, because you are disagreeing, we will not accept it. Even now, you see, Innocent, I am highly concerned that the Gen Z decided not to read. Because the first question you asked, did you read? He said no. But then he went again to reiterate some of those that he has read. Now, as an organization that represents young people, it is very important to interrogate, because this is the law. It is going to bind them, whether they have participated in the process or not. And this is why you are on a better side when you are informed with your advocacy. Because you know, even when you are saying mixed member proportional representation is bad,
How?
it is because you have interrogated it. It is not from hearsay. When you say the president should not nominate the 10 or 8, it is because you have interrogated. And that's our position as a consortium. We have refused to look at it from an abstract angle. We want to be objective. So when that question you've asked me, broad-based, I want to agree, number one, that broad-based is relative. It's not an absolute term. It depends on how I would define it. You have constituted the UPND constituted the technical
You
committee.
do a sample.
Okay, they have gone. They have gone ahead and went round. I must say, Innocent, that we are an organization that have told our members to utilize the online, and many of them submitted online. So meaning it's a platform. This technology where we are, we cannot say it may not be perfect, but it was a platform through which people can submit. If my memory serves me well, Innocent, this is the second highest constitutional amendment process in this country, with 11,000 plus. From, I think the highest should have been either 12 or 14,000, somewhere there. So it tells you, if you want to judge by broad-based, then it was broad-based. Because we have never seen a situation where all Zambians went to submit. It's impossible. even voting itself, it's not everyone who is going to
No,
vote.
even in
So as
presentation,
you
we can't all be in parliament.
So as you submit quickly, wait, Doc. As you submit quickly,
Yes.
I want you to comment on the video which I just played. I think you didn't have a bite. that
Yeah,
it
sure,
has.
I
The
didn't.
sentiments
So
from the
I will tell
president.
you one
Comment on it.
interesting thing, Innocent, is that you must be very careful with politicians. In politics, from where I come from, my school of thought, there are rhetorical statements and reality. And the reality statements are based on facts. So when the president of UPND then is urging his member, okay, he understands that a constitution is both a governance tool and a political tool. Okay, he understands. So he's standing as somebody who is aspiring to become president, and he could have seen certain glitches in it that would make his ruling difficult should he make government. So what do? You tell people, don't go. And he was very categorical. All members of UPND, don't do. It's the same thing we are seeing now from the opposition.
They are talking to us.
They are actually saying, don't do it. Right? So we cannot say that he advocated, and I must submit this, Innocent, that
Yeah.
Butane died in parliament. It was not withdrawn. The members of parliament themselves killed it. Let Bill die in parliament. And that's our position as a consortium. Number two is that, Innocent, we have submitted our recommendations. And I have read the
So,
report by the technical committee.
There's something which I've noted from you.
Yes.
It's like you are telling me that it doesn't matter if I'm, provided I'm aspiring to be a member of parliament or a president, I can go on
say
TV
anything.
and say whatever I want to say.
No,
provided that advantages me and my political party.
Now, here is what
I
I'm...
thought politicians are supposed to be realistic and real to what they talk about.
I agree. They need to be real. But
So,
here, listen,
yeah.
listen, this is what I've told you. I've said there are rhetorical statements that
So which
politicians
one was
make.
being,
For example,
portrayed
listen, let
there
me,
by
let
the
me.
president?
No, I mean,
Was it rhetorical or
yes,
it
being
was a
rhetorical
reality?
by saying reject.
So it
Reject.
was
Like
being-
he has said,
So,
he didn't
hold on,
substantiate.
Hold on. The president was being rhetorical.
I think so. Because
you are not sure.
No, let me
Are
let
you
me
sure
no
it
no
was
no
being
let me,
rhetorical or not?
I think so. That's what I've told you.
Which one is the answer?
Yeah, I think so. That's
Just
the
say
answer.
the truth.
No.
How can it be
No,
true?
no, listen. Let me
Let's-
substantiate
Please,
my
Do
reason.
that.
And I've told you that when he's speaking like that, he's aspiring, okay? And when he's
So
looking
you
at
allow leaders to
no,
be
listen. Let
rhetorical.
me allow me to explain because you actually make me lose my thought. He's aspiring. Is he supposed to be truthful? Yes. But as he is doing politics, he's also being rhetorical.
Is that right?
No, it's not right. This is why I'm telling you, it's not right.
Right.
So, when you hear what he was saying, he's saying, oh, you members of UPND, reject it. It is poisonous. Okay? Can I ascertain that he interrogated the content? Maybe not. But if from where he was standing, he understood this is a political tool, as well as a governance tool. Should it pass, it may, should I form a government, create problem. Let me give you one practical example. When the PF were in power, the cyber law was a very good law. They didn't know that one day it will catch up with them. And that's being, we need to be very realistic
Please.
here. So
That's what
when they move out of power, that same law that they thought, like Hidok said, they thought we would be in power forever. They crafted laws that would target opposition, silence them, and they move out of power. It is law. So when this current government implements that law, are they bad? I don't think so.
I thought you'd go further to say when this government came in, they stiffened it further. They made it more stronger.
They will come out of power innocent. They will.
Did they make it more stronger than it was?
I don't think they.
Hold on.
Let me.
Wait. Did the UPND make the cyber law more stronger than it was under the PF?
I don't think so. Look, in the first place, as an individual and as a leader of an organization, did we support it? No. Because we believe that there are certain liberties Zambians are supposed to enjoy. Okay? Too much of restrictions creates a problem because when citizens are restricted too much, they find certain ways of voicing out. But my point is that politicians must avoid being rhetorical. Right. They must be factual. so that when citizens are deciding to make a decision that they are voting for Chifue, it is based on facts.
Okay, I want to move on from you, but it is really shocking that as a CSO, I mean, you just talked about Mr. Mwanza here. You were questioning him as to why he never took time to read the 13 proposed constitutional clauses.
Yes.
And then you yourself again, you are telling me that you are not sure whether the UPND have made this cyber crime law more stronger than it was under the PF.
So here is the context.
No context about it. You're not aware that they have made it more stronger.
No, I don't know what you mean to be, because more stronger.
He's not aware. Can we move on?
No.
He's not sure.
He's telling me that we use the word more punitive.
More punitive, yeah.
Are you aware?
I think that now you have put context. Because when you say a strong law, it means that.
Wait.
No, listen.
What's the difference between stronger and punitive?
A good law is strong, meaning that it does not take sides. It doesn't favor who.
Right.
But when you talk about a punitive law,
Yeah.
it's a law that doesn't, there's humanity also as you use the law.
So, as the UPND made the cyber law more punitive than it was under the PF?
I think so. This is what I have told you. I've answered. I've told you clearly.
I think so.
I think
You're
so.
not sure.
No. I think so.
You're not sure.
No.
The answer will be yes or no. That's all.
In adult discussion, Innocent, you don't coerce somebody into a corner.
We
give context.
When you say you think so, I will not go further. I will leave it there.
Yes, it's because.
So, thank you so much. Just there.
I didn't finish. I didn't finish here.
No, because you are giving more context.
No. It's because you keep cutting me.
He's been speaking for 10 minutes.
The UPND made the cyber law more punitive than
Innocent.
than the PF.
Innocent. Our bone of listen. Our bone of discussion, and this is the problem. We digress. Our bone of contention or discussion here is Bill 7.
I was brought to this,
No.
You
Listen. So you can't dwell on a non-substantive issue on a discussion. That's what I want you to understand. So we are talking about.
Let me just create a bit order. As a moderator, I'm within my FEMA terror to manage and the flow of the conversation.
Totally.
So if you're going to throw in something which I do not, understand, or the people will not understand, I'll make a follow-up question.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
But the Constitution. But if you bring the issue of the cyber law and crime, I will ask you further questions.
No. I'm giving an example.
You understand, right?
You see, I'm giving you an example, Innocent.
Right.
Let's
just give him.
Please do so. So I was telling you that as an architect, CSO or consortium of CSOs that have been pushing, we cannot abscond the process. Right. And this is why we have been pushing. When I think it was Doc, I've forgotten whether it is Honorable Mutinta who mentioned, or Mr. Mansa, that the WASIS forum went to State House and all that thing that happened. We actually also wrote, because you can't hear from one CSO or consortium of CSO. Why don't you also give us audience? Because what we believe and think is different from that. And in my opening remarks, Innocent, if you recall, I said the problem we've been having in this country is that we have projected certain institutions, certain individuals as the most educated and knowledgeable people in Zambia. So that when they speak, we think what they've spoken is the truth. Right. No, that's very dangerous as a country. So our position as an organization and as a CSO is that we are not opposed entirely to the proposed amendments. Right. Those that we feel are concerning, we have put it in written. And I've come with a copy of our submission. I can leave it with you. We have put it in written. We are not in agreement with this proposal for the following reasons. Because I thought, and this is why earlier when I said, I hope we were going to dig deeper so that we unpack these things.
All of you have spent much more time. I insisted.
No. This is how we mislead Zambians. Instead of talking about the Zambians wants to know that the UPND government wants to increase the National Assembly seats. Right. Why does the UPND wants to increase? We want to enhance representation and democracy and ensure more citizens have a voice in parliament. This is what the people out there wants to know. The people out there, they want to know that we want to introduce a mixed member proportional representation. Why do you want to do that? We want to promote inclusivity. Right. So that is the message the Zambians wants to hear. The Zambians wants to know that we want to remove the 2-term limit for mayors and the council chairpersons. These, they might look simple. They are important things in the governance system. Why do you want to do that? We also want to give mayors an opportunity to serve more than like members of parliament. So these are the provisions that Zambians, they are supposed to be debating. When they are saying we don't want this, they should be arguing from this point of view. Not just giving a blanket, no, because HH is stronger. No, because
Comrade,
the price
no
of
one is
minimum,
talking about
the
that.
price
Let's
of minimum
be
is
factual.
the price of minimum is no.
Honorable, be factual, don't be emotional.
So let's look at the content.
Hold on.
So we're
This has
misleading
come out
Zambians.
twice now.
Just
We're
hold on.
misleading Zambians by giving an envelope.
It's you actually now.
No.
Twice
No one
now.
has talked
So-
about the Tonga issue.
Twice.
Content.
Are we agreeing?
Why
Let's look at the
emotional?
content.
Hold on.
No,
Mr.
we don't want the bill because
You agree with
bill
me?
10
Hold
failed.
on. You agree with me that no one has talked about
No,
price.
I'm giving an example. Yes, that was an example. So
Right.
the
Out
point
of
is,
context, comrade.
can we spend time to help Zambians appreciate
Yeah.
the contents of the bill?
Right.
And also Zambians should know that what is contained, these 13 provisions, some of them might go through, some of them might not go through. So for example, my colleague mentioned 2 provisions which he said he was not comfortable with, where he says the party, if you die, the party will appoint someone.
You're also not comfortable with it.
Yes, it's normal, it's democracy. So I'm not comfortable with it, but it was sponsored by my party. Now my question is, what if after the due process it is thrown
Do you
away?
support anything that comes from your party?
No, he
Do you
asked me.
support
He asked,
anything sponsored
I will
by-
not support anything that comes from my party because I also an
You're doing
independent
it
mind.
just now.
So no, but I've said that this provision, particularly the provision, I'll give you an example. This provision that when a member of parliament dies, he should be replaced by the party system. I'm saying as an individual, I don't support it. But at the end of the day, I belong to an organization. So when we go on the floor of the house, if the technical committee, it will propose that they are also not supporting it, there's a possibility to be thrown out. That is what democracy entails. And when you think that these contents, they are now cast in stone, that is being judgmental. So I was asking that, okay, for example, on Tuesday next week, what if the report throws out the issue of members of parliament being replaced by an appointment of the party? Is this still going to be a bad bill? That's the question I was asking. Because can we allow the due process to be exhausted? Let's allow the select committee, let's allow parliament to debate. Then we can make a conclusion whether this is a bad bill or not. The 2 most contentious issues that he also brought, I said, also even me, I don't believe in it. So, but let's allow democracy. At the end of the day, it's the same consultation, it's the people who will talk, and we need to respect the wills of the people.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, what?
Joe, quickly, can you also submit? I think within a minute we have to close it. Yeah, that will be your closing remarks, actually.
My appeal is to members of parliament. There are MPs before you, there are nationalists who based this country in unity and freedom. My appeal is, because where this Bill 7 is, in its entirety, it's in the hands of parliament now. Is it legal? The answer is yes, because we have perpetuated the same Schedule 2, which is a foreign law. It's embedded in England. Now, if we are saying that Zambia is a sovereign state, why should we continue to amend the same Schedule 2 to this day? And I want to appeal to even all of us as the politicians. Why can't we learn from history? People come, people go. Some of them were the most powerful men in this land. They lie at Temberspark, helplessly. They are gone. So, why can't we for once give the people of Zambia the constitution? The unity government, in the 2 amendments that it did, it issued a white paper where people make submissions, then the executive meet. They remove what they don't want and they maintain what the executive wants. MMD did the same after Mungomba. They issued a white paper, cabinet white paper, where they remove the submissions of the people, they put what they want. The PF government did the same thing. They removed what people wanted, they put their own things. And as if that was not enough, 2016, towards the elections, again they come up with another, in 5 years, wanted to amend it twice. And we've been calling it amendment from 1964. Amendment, amendment, amendment. We have been amending an act of parliament, a schedule of an act of parliament from England, from from UK. We are a sovereign state. And I think that all the voices, they change. Laws, the laws, and many other CSOs, since independence, they have been very clear that they want for once an assembly of free people that will give Zambia a constitution. Zambia has no constitution. That's why it's going to parliament. Parliament has no power to amend the supreme charter of the land. Can you imagine if Trump became, if Trump said, let me amend, I'm Trump, I don't agree to what this one did, let me amend the law. And already, with that ruling of Concord, since it mentioned Bill 7, and then we go back with to it, it could be that in some countries they can impeach the president. Whoever is trying to sponsor that, because at the end of the day, it's the executive, it's impeachable. So what we are saying is, for once, let us put Zambia first. And sometimes, when you are in power, and I want to speak to the president, when you are in power, those who are around you, sometimes they'll see all kinds of good things to mislead into a ditch. When they're in a ditch, you remain alone. We've seen President Chiluba sitting alone in court. President Lungu, Rupia Banda, sorry, shall I say, alone in court. This is what happened. It was very sad. President Lungu, look at what happened. Who would imagine that President Lungu would be searched? Without they went. I don't know, the immunity doesn't include the searching your private residence. They went and did all that. Even the prisons. Look at the prisons today. We forget with the position that we are the best candidates for those prisons. We're not doing anything even about it to even reform all these laws. We want to, because we're looking at momentary gains. Why can't we put Zambia first for once? It's not about having our way. Strength actually is in also listening to other views and striking a balance so that we can have a constitution which is popularly accepted by all, which every Zambian will actually identify with. We can even say, let's even translate it into all the 73 languages in Zambia. Take it to the villages. Such a process where even a villager, it must be non-technical, because a constitution is not a laws document. It's a basic charter of the land. It's the mother of laws. So everyone must, and it must be simple. When I'm saying simple, don't go into these legalisms. Look at the American Constitution. Straight to the point. Separating the powers. The president and the executive is here, parliament is here, so that when I have MPs like Honorable Mutinta here, he must go to debate independently, whether he's a Democrat, whether he's a Republican. I'm giving an example of America. Yeah. Whether you belong to a party, because you're representing the people. MPs have chambers now in their constituents. Those must be called chambers. So they must receive submissions through online submissions or consultations. That when an MP goes to speak, he's speaking based on the evidence of the submissions of the people from where he or she's coming from.
Thank you so much, Doc.
Zambia must go to there and also put a power in institutions of governance. Why do MPs want to go back to be deciding on the CDF when they must be monitoring over even this CDF? CDF is not the solution to Zambia's issues. What is important is look at the district. Zambia is in chaos. You go in a district, there is a council. Then there's district administration. Department of Both at the Council, Public Health. You go to the DHU again, you have all these kind of confusions. What we are saying is, we are talking about strengthening local government. Let there be one government in every district, one local government. Remove all this of DCs, remove all these kind of things. So that when funds are sent, each district, imagine if it's MP for it says, when the government I think was, if they send money to that district, it's not just CDF, it's money for everything, for housing, policing, water, agriculture, everything is going there. So the MP now will be on the council. Where is the money for inputs? Where is the money for? That's what must happen. The money must go there,
Thank you so
not
much.
at the top.
Thank you so much, Doc.
Give power to the people. And this is a policy.
Great. Thank you so
We
much.
shouldn't be calling them, we shouldn't be questioning each other's commitment in this country. All of us are Zambians.
Right.
So if we start judging people through, oh no, you, yes, so it's like this, oh you, because what you can do, you're making a very big mistake.
Right.
We are only one country and must maintain peace. Conflict is part of life.
Right.
If you don't manage these conflicts properly, we can be like Rwanda. We don't want that.
Yeah.
Unity, that's what we need.
Thank you so much, Doc. Let's hear from Mr. Mwanza as you conclude as well. I'll give you 2 minutes.
No, thank you very much, Innocent. It's been a pleasure to be part of this panel and to discuss and give all these submissions. I will end my submissions in the words of the President of Zambia. Bill 7 is poisonous, and even if you add sugar to a poisonous cup, it still remains poisonous. I appeal to all right-minded citizens, MPs, even in ruling if you know you want to be on the right side of history, vote against Bill 7. The opposition should vote against Bill 7. The churches, mother bodies, the CSOs should all vote against Bill 7. Thank you very much, comrade.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mwanza, for that very short, precise closing remarks. Honorable member.
Thank you so much, Innocent, for giving me the opportunity to represent my mighty party, the UPND, on this important discourse. It's very important to engage. It's a party which is driven on principles of openness, dialogue, and accountability. So the president has been very clear, no hidden agenda, no one wants to stay in power forever. This process is to cure the lacunas that exist. So I want to assure the Zambians that this process has not abrogated anything. There's no court process around. This is a democratic process within the confines of the established powers of the executive, of the legislature. I want to also indicate that there was wider consultation. Political parties consulted, civil society consulted. If one civil society was not consulted, it means there was no consultation. So I want to appeal to my fellow members of parliament to vote for this. Note that we are coerced. We have engaged, we have believed that the contents of this document, they will not only build the political space of this country, they will eventually also build the economical space of this country. So we are looking forward to the select committee's report, and members of parliament from UPND and also members of parliament from PF, they have seen the benefits of this. So we are appealing to them to vote for this bill in parliament using the constitutional right they have, so that we better this country, we improve its governance. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable, for that. Let's hear from Mr. Chifue.
Yeah, yes, Innocent, thank you once again for actually having me, and it has been a pleasure, Doc, to share a platform.
These are the people we used to admire when we were growing up. Eh?
Yes, so,
he has given us a historical perspective.
Yes. So I think, Innocent, like I mentioned earlier on, we've been behind this process as a consortium.
Right.
And we are happy that the president actually has allowed the technical committee report to be published, because then all the suspicions can be cleared. Number two is that even the bill itself, it has been published. The proposed amendments are clearly outlined. So our position is that, Innocent, whilst the select committee is still sitting, let people go and submit those that have been invited to appear before it. The best way to advocate something is not to stay outside. It's when you're inside, because at least you understand the dynamics. I've told you that as a consortium, it's not everything we agree to. We have submitted and will continue. Should we be given another opportunity to appear here, maybe that time we are going to interrogate them one by one. Then we'll be able to tell you that, okay, this one, we don't agree. For example, I'll give you, we are opposed to members of parliament going to the councils. If they should go, they shouldn't have a voting right. Why they need to be there, we think that they can provide police oversight. So we want to appreciate, Innocent, that let the Zambians that have been invited to appear before the committee, the best way to enact laws is when we have all participated. I will end by saying, Innocent, in a democracy, staying away also is participation.
Right. It's quite strong. That's quite strong. All right, allow me to